Morning everyone, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat, this will be my Knackers Yard, and this will be the fucking Somme. They're digging up the road, replacing gas pipes. They're doing it at all hours as well, so I didn't do, it's now Sunday, early Sunday morning. Not as early as my clock says, because I need to change it. It's earlier than my clock says, but I need to change that, because I changed the battery on the bike. So it's about 8 o'clock. Didn't really do any, didn't upload yesterday because these guys were just digging the road and sucking it up. They got like a, haven't seen it before, it's a massive truck that's basically like a vacuum cleaner. Oh, they've done a couple of them. Christ, they're doing this quick. So they're kind of, you know, sucking up all the mud. It's an amazing thing. And they're rattling through and doing it really quick, and bless them, it's not the greatest conditions to work in, so, you know, all due respect to the road workers, but yeah, they're noisy bastards. So I haven't been in the garage because of it. Oh, love it when the roads are nice and quiet. It's such a monumental difference between that and commuting traffic. Yeah, so I didn't spend any time on the bikes, apart from I put a new battery in this and chucked it on charge because the old one's getting a little bit meh. So the old one's getting a bit meh. It was a relatively new battery, but I'm still not sure whether the stator is on its way out on this, so I thought I bought it a decent battery. I treated it to a decent battery, a gel battery, so we'll see how that goes. But I get the feeling I may have to replace the stator at some point, probably in the summer, although obviously during the winter it's, you know, the hardest time on your stator, arguably, because the cold's trying to zap your battery all the time. Plus I more than acknowledge, and before people point out, I more than acknowledge that I don't use this bike for its main purpose. I don't do long tours, I tend to do commutes, and actually commutes are the hardest on a battery, on a stator, because you're just more often than not stop-starting on low revs, and what you're not doing through the regulator rectifier is revving it enough to keep that battery topped up. So yeah, it has a hard life. It has a hard life, and it's had a hard life in the past, this bike, bless it. So I didn't get a lot of time in the garage. What I did do though, and I also, you know, and a lot of you guys recommended it as well, the Aprilia. A lot of people were saying just step away for a little while now, and that's exactly what I did. Partly intentionally, partly by circumstance. So I didn't, you know, I left the bike where I left the upload last week. It pissed me off and I walked away, and then I didn't touch it all week. Now that wasn't just me finding some space and for me being annoyed and not want to go to it, it's the fact that I didn't have the opportunity. So last week was my first full week working. I say at work, I wasn't in work all of it, I was at home for some of it, because I'm very fortunate, very fortunate by virtue of the fact that I can hybrid work in this job, so some of it at home, some of it in London. I'm particularly fortunate because I could almost pick and choose myself as to how that ratio of home to work goes. Not entirely by myself. No man is an island, and you do need to work with other people, and actually face to face does make some things considerably easier. But it was the first full week after Christmas. Everybody's come back with a whole series of bright ideas that they've come up with, you know, while they had Christmas fat bellies, and it's just been fucking mental. All of which whilst people are trying to wean themselves back onto milk in their coffee rather than Baileys. So yeah, it's been it's been long days, so I've not had the opportunity, and obviously it's dark early and all that sort of thing, so I haven't had a play in a week. What I did do though, while I was swapping the battery over on this, oh, I love this bike. What I did do though was unplugged the speedo and plugged it back in again, and it works. And the bike works, and we're all good, so that's a good thing. I do have the service light back on, I do have the oil warning light back on, so I am gonna drop the oil, which I haven't done yet. It's always looked fine, but fuck it, it'll have to be done at some point or another. Drop the oil and plug in the old diagnostic software, see if I can get something. It's 40 mile an hour along here. Why are you doing 30 this early on a Sunday morning when there's no traffic? Jesus Christ. Yeah, so today, why am I riding on a Sunday now? You're not a Sunday rider, you're a commuting rider. Yes, I am. I'm out on a ride. I'm going to meet up with some guys and go out for a ride, and I'm really looking forward to it. And we'll see how we go when we get there. As to, yeah, I may upload some footage while we're out on a ride. I might not, because fundamentally my riding tends to be talking to myself. I'll probably be concentrating a bit more with other people. Now, it's going to be an interesting one for me because I don't really ride with others. It's a skill, talent that is pretty unpracticed for me. We all have different reasons for getting into biking. For some it's a bit of rebellion, for probably most it's a midlife crisis. I'll put my hand up to that as well. But actually the purpose for a bike for me is practical. It's a commuting methodology. Now, it's not something I need. It's not something I need. I am fortunate, fortunate and unfortunate. I'm unfortunate that I work in central London, but I'm fortunate that transport links are pretty amazing, frankly. I mean, nowhere near as good as they are in central London. We can get pretty much anywhere pretty quickly on public transport, but you know, a hub and spoke from the burbs where I live can get me straight to work, so I don't need to ride a bike into work. However, it gives me a degree of freedom and guarantee that I wouldn't have otherwise, particularly at the moment while there's a fair few, or a fair chance of strikes interrupting travels. But fundamentally my bike is for a way for me to get into work reliably, which is precisely why I've got this big old beast machine that's not the sexiest, not the fastest, certainly not the best looking, because it's functional, and for that functionality it's bloody comfy. It is faster than it need be, it's bigger CC than it need be, but that's my choice. So, you know, I have a practical reason for biking. Now, I realise that a lot of people, and probably a lot of you watching, it's not a practical solution. Motorbikes are expensive. Well, wrong, I'll rephrase that. Motorbikes for many are a luxury rather than a necessity, and very, very few luxuries are free or indeed cheap. So yeah, it's an expense for many. Yeah, that's not amber. Neither's that. Fucking hell. Dickheads. Sorry, that ruined my train of thought. Yeah, so you know, so what? Sunday riders tend to be more leisure riders, I think, more than commute riders, in a similar way that very few builders get home from work and then start building on their own houses. you're a regular commuter on a bike, I'd suggest that you're not necessarily looking forward to going out on a Sunday bimble. That said, the experience of this ride is very different than my normal ride, so I might be wrong in my theory there. It's a very different experience. This is kind of what bikes are for. Now unfortunately my trip to meet up with the guys, they're perfectly placed, picked a perfect place to meet that's almost on the opposite side of London to me. So whereas I've got, you know, Watford up in the up at sort of 10 o'clock ish, we're meeting at about 4 o'clock around the M25, so I've got a nice hour's cruise around the M25, near enough hour's cruise around the M25. So I'm not going to film it. Well, my camera will be on for my own safety, but I'm not going to be uploading it because fundamentally it's fucking boring. But yeah, we'll see how we go. So for now, catch you later. Right, so that's me on the way back. I got bored on the motorway, so I've just hiked off a little bit early just to do a little bit of A-road hooliganery. It's needed. Fucking motorways are so dull. Not sure what lane you should be in, big fella. Now, your eyes may deceive you here, because this... stop and point things out on the way. Interesting fauna and fauna. Get out of my fucking way. Yeah, it's just dull on motorways. Now, what was I saying? Yeah, it looks can be deceiving here because it's a beautiful sunny day, yet it is fucking freezing. So I stopped off on the way back. I was tempted to take the box off the back because it looks a bit wank, but I decided to leave it on. I've chucked in all my cold weather kit, sorry, my wet weather kit. I haven't got any more layers, but I've got spare gloves and all that sort of thing, but I had a spare buff, so I'm currently double buffing, so my head is considerably warmer. I have got some like wind baffles for the handlebars, which I had on briefly on the diversion. I think I might look at putting them on because I suppose the weather's turning, it's going to get warmer, although we do have a massive cold blast coming our way allegedly, which is always nice to have something to look forward. Oh, I like that tan, isn't that backwards? Yeah, so might look at putting them on. They'd look fucking horrendous, I think, but they serve a purpose. My hands aren't actually too bad. Decent gloves. I have thought about heated grips, but I don't really want to put any more electrical burden on this bike than it's already got. And I've had hot grips before, and yeah, they're nice, but they warm up the bit of your hand that isn't cold, i.e. the inside. It's the outside that's cold. I have had some cheapy heated gloves once as well, but I think because I went cheap, they were shit. I don't think I've been through it before. My wife works around here somewhere. Yeah. If I sound a little bit distracted, I've got banging tunes going on the old helmet Bluetooth, which I do need to replace because all of the foams come off the headpieces. They're not the most comfortable thing in the world at the moment. But I'm just wondering about whether or not I get a proper Bluetooth headset, you know, one that can... This is the cheapest Chinese one they had about 4 years ago. Oh, excuse me. So it survived well, it owes me nothing. I think it only cost me about 18 quid, something like that. But my biggest frustration was that I couldn't connect it to my GoPro. So I couldn't get the microphone from this that's right in front of my mouth to do the noise. Oh, I do recognise where I am actually. It's the park we take the kids to sometimes. The Aquadrome. And actually, the last time I was here was around Christmas when we broke my car. If you want an indication that you've eaten too much on Christmas Day, what you need to do, when you get in your car on Boxing Day, if when you get in it, the suspension spring breaks, that's a definite indication you've eaten too much for Christmas, over Christmas. Yeah, so I've only just got that fixed actually. I had to put that in and wait till something like the 11th of January to drop that off, so I've only done that this week. About 300 quid lighter, which is a bit of a pain, but it's something that I couldn't do. It's the tension required. I know how to do it, but the tension required to get a new spring on, I just haven't got the capability to do that. Fog it up. And there we go, it's much later. I was just going through my footage there, and I think I'll cut it short because I'm only really talking bollocks on the back of a bike. But Blue's all tucked away at night. Phoenix is better. You can see the light flashing periodically on the dash. There we go, proving it's working. I just want to say a massive thanks to the guys that I met today. Really nice bunch. Looking forward to meeting up again in the near future. Blue's Brill, massively underrated bike, but just so nice on long trips. I was tempted to take Tango, just if nothing else so the guys could see him, but it wouldn't have been half as comfortable a ride for that amount of time. It's hour 20 minutes, so I need to sort Tango out to get him back on the market. I took him off over Christmas and New Year because it just wasn't, no one's got money for that. I'm in no rush, so I might just wait until the spring starts to hit and people start getting interested again. But I need to get this big bag boy sorted. Right, that'll do me. Cheers all. Catch you later. See you on the next one. Ta-da.